Right. What's going on, guys?
Very little. About to discuss a little bit of Megadeth, as people can tell.
Megadeth. Nice. If you guys have been paying attention to the show, you know what we do. We pick a band, we pick an album, kind of talk about the band quite a bit, then we talk about the album quite a bit, and then we talk about ourselves for a while. We're not that conceited, or are we?
And then we find something to argue about somewhere in there.
But yeah, we pretty much just like Andy said earlier, it's a free forum, just flow with it, and we talk about whatever the hell we want. So tonight, what we're talking about is Megadeth, and in particular, we are talking about their third album, their third studio release, entitled... Is it entitled? No, it's titled So Far, So Good, So What? What's up, fellas?
Very little.
Ready to talk about this Megadeth.
There's a guy in this band called Dave Mustaine. You might have heard of him.
Supposedly he was in a band
Who
called
is he,
Metallica.
though?
Supposedly, I don't know. I've heard it mentioned that he wrote some of their music. I don't know.
There's this guy. He's got red hair. He plays the guitar.
He's 40 some years later. He's still, talking about the Metallica. He's still
bitching about it.
Yeah. So
he's kind of fucking butthurt, isn't he?
Yeah, he's pretty ridiculous.
I don't know. I would be.
Well, think about it. Yeah. They're worth like $150 million more than he is.
He's worth plenty too. He's fine.
Yeah, he's got plenty of money. I'm sure. But it's funny for me. My first introduction to thrash metal was actually Metallica, and absolutely loved Metallica until I heard Megadeth. Still love Metallica, but I always gravitated more towards Megadeth. I got introduced to Megadeth on the album that probably most people did, and that was Peace Sells, But Who's Buying?
Same.
I remember the day I heard it. I walked into my buddy's house, and he was like, "Dude, you got to check out this album," and he spun it for me, and I was fucking hooked. From there, I went back, and I got Killing As My Business, and just have been in love with Megadeth ever since. My top band, from the 80s was always Slayer, which oddly enough I got introduced to right after Megadeth. Just have always loved, this style of music. Megadeth is probably one of the bands that I've seen the most in my life. I have seen them almost every year since 1989, I think. The first time I saw them was on the...
That would have been this tour.
On this tour, yeah.
On this tour, and then I saw them the following year on the Rust in Peace tour. And I've seen them just about every time. There's been a couple shows I missed just because I had something going on, but I've probably seen Megadeth 30 times at least.
Wow.
It's crazy. I've seen them everywhere from, small, tiny bathroom bar to fucking big arena. And I always fucking loved them. The last time I saw them, though, I do have to admit, I was paying him for Dave Mustaine, man. He sounded horrible the last time I saw him. But I did find out that he was extremely sick on that tour and was having problems singing. The next tour that they did, which is the tour they're on now, which unfortunately I missed this last tour. From what I hear, he sounded phenomenal. So, take that as you will.
Well, plus he had that throat cancer going for a while,
right.
too. And that was, I think, stage 3. So, when they found it, it was pretty advanced. But knock on wood, he's got it beat. shouldn't have to worry about it coming back. Let's hope.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully not. Interesting thing about Megadeth, which, I mean, we run into this with a lot of the bands that we love from back in the day, that Dave Mustaine is the only constant member of the band. The rest of the band has changed numerous times. They took a big hit a few years ago when David Ellefson was forced to leave, because he was one of the mainstays of the band. Him and Dave have been together for years,
since day one.
Since day one.
Yeah,
and
all because he was whacking.
Yeah. It was a sad deal.
Not into tool shit.
Not going to get into that. I wish David Ellefson the best, but unfortunately he's not a part of Megadeth, and I understand why. So, but anyway, Megadeth, an American thrash metal band formed in Los Angeles in 1983. Where were you in 1983?
Riding bicycles around my town.
Same. I was
Riding bicycle. Hey, I was too. I was too. Vocalist and guitarist Dave Mustaine formed the band. Known for their technically complex guitar work and musicianship, Megadeth is one of the big four of American thrash metal, along with Slayer, Anthrax, and Metallica. And is credited with helping to develop and popularize the genre. Their music features intricate arrangements, fast rhythm sections, dual lead guitars, and lyrical themes such as war, politics, religion, death, and personal relationships. So here's a big thing about Megadeth that a lot of people don't really understand. I'm sorry, not that they don't understand, but it's just kind of odd. When you look at Megadeth, they don't really have a rhythm guitar player. They have two lead guitar players. And that's because Dave Mustaine is a fucking phenomenal guitar player. How he pulls off some of these intricate riffs that he plays while singing over the top of them just absolutely fucking blows my mind.
I have no idea how he does that, and I know great players that still can't do it.
For that matter, I don't know how Harry does it either. Because we've got some pretty intricate shit, and I've watched Harry fucking sing over that for years, and I'm like, dude, how the fuck do you do that?
Anybody that does vocals over an intricate riff, it just blows.
Well, and Harry's even tried doing that on some Megadeth stuff, and goes, man, that's just fucking crazy.
Yeah, because his fucking Dave Mustaine's riffing style is fucking phenomenal.
Different.
I mean,
and it's different
people talk about, how good of a player Hetfield is. Well, Hetfield learned a lot of shit from Dave Mustaine and had to keep up with him, For those of you that don't know, Dave Mustaine was a big part of the formation of Metallica, started them on their way, and
he was kind of the lead focus, because at that point Hetfield was kind of really shy on stage. And Dave did a lot of the talking from the way I've heard it.
Kind of the alpha.
Okay, see, I didn't know that. I knew that watching their early videos, fucking Mustaine was the madman on stage. He was the one that was fucking getting the crowd pumped up and shit, Yeah,
he was the character that everyone looked to.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's still a character. Although now he's old and doesn't move around so much.
And over the years, I've collected demos and stuff where some of the really old stuff that you'll hear from them when he's still with them, Dave's doing lead vocals on about a third of it.
Really?
You'd be surprised.
Oh, that's cool. It's funny when you hear some of the early Megadeth stuff, you can really hear Metallica in that. Especially a song like Mechanics.
Okay.
Because we all know what Mechanics is. Mechanics is basically the Four
Horsemen minus Leonard Skinner.
Right. Minus Leonard Skinner, huh?
Yeah, that outro to the Four Horsemen is part of Leonard Skinner's song, basically, without the trailer. And Dave's even admitted it. And if you look at the progression, it's the exact same thing. And the whole reason it's there is because Cliff Burton was in love with Leonard Skinner and said, we need one of these in our song. So he just added it. Yeah.
That's
I personally
awesome,
like Four Horsemen better than Mechanics.
Well,
but
what happened was early on in one of their practices, some kid wrote to Dave Mustaine as a fan and saying how he loved Megadeth because they were so much beefier and stronger than Metallica, and he said right after that, all of a sudden, all the BPMs went up 50 beats per minute overnight on all their songs. So that's how Mechanics, I think, got sped up so much, because I've got the old version of Mechanics, even with Hetfield and them.
Yeah.
And it's not quite that fast, but it's still faster than what the Four Horsemen was.
Right. Well, and you hear about bands doing that a lot in post-production. Like we had talked about Metallica doing that with the Master of Puppets album. Mm-hmm. They actually sped it up before they released it.
They recorded everything at half speed for the guitars.
Yeah.
And then they just sped the tracks up for playback.
Wow.
That's why it's so tight.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy.
I did not know that.
So Megadeth has had a flurry of great albums. You know, it started with Peace Sells, but Who's Buying, to So Far So Good So What, to Rust in Peace, which is honestly my favorite. Countdown to Extinction, another great album. It just goes on and on and on.
To me, Countdown was their last good album. Great album.
I will disagree, because I think some of their newer stuff is really good. Mm-hmm. I really like 13. 13, I got it and fell in love with it. The other one that I really like, and oh my God, this bio for Megadeth is fucking huge. It's huge. I really like 2001's A World Needs a Hero. I know a lot of people did not like that, but for some reason that album hit me, and I really dug the shit out of it. The System Has Failed was good.
The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, I thought was great.
Dude, that opening riff on The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead is just fucking perfect Dave Mustaine antics. Mm-hmm. I love the way they open that album.
See, after Countdown, I like Endgame, and I like Dystopia. And the newer one, the newest one is okay to me, but it's just, I don't know. But there's a lot from Countdown to Endgame that are just meh.
And I agree with you on,
I think we can
on the new one.
Out the window.
The new one has got some really good, really killer shit on it.
It does,
but then it's got some stuff that it's like, why did you do that? You know.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. You know, The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, I'd give it a half and half. You know, for me, I mean, there's a little bit on everything that I like. You know, there's a little bit on Cryptic Writings that I like, and
same here.
And there's even a couple songs on Risk that I like.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that one. That's their load album for me.
Yeah. I agree. I completely agree.
That was Dave trying to placate Marty Friedman's ego, or should I say, not wanting him to leave because of it.
Yeah, but So Far So Good So What, this entire album is killer. I mean, it's got a lot of good riffing on it. Very interesting though. Right before they did this album, they got rid of two of their big players in the band, and that was
Chris and Gar.
Chris Poland and Gar Samuelson. They got rid of them, and they were replaced by Chuck Baylor and Jeff Young.
Which Chuck was was Gar's drum tech before this.
Correct. And Jeff Young, interestingly enough, for as good of a job as he did on this album, this is the only album he ever did with Megadeth.
Yeah. Because he got accused of trying to sleep with Dave's girlfriend / fiance at the time.
Ah, see, I didn't catch that.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I did find it interesting that the reason why he got rid of Chris Poland, because Dave Mustaine claimed that Chris Poland was stealing their gear and hawking it and buying heroin with it.
I had heard those as well.
That did happen, but they were all heroin.
But here's the one thing you're also missing is before they got Jeff in the band, they actually had Jay Reynolds from Malice in the band for about 6 weeks.
Right, and he didn't work out for him.
Well, basically the way the story goes from what I've seen is that, you know, they went on tour together, I think on Peace Sells, and got to be friends. And if you listen to that Malice record, that first half is awesome. And the solos are pretty good on it. They're not up to Chris Poland's level. And so Jeff was actually his guitar teacher, and they were living together. And he's basically asked Jeff, hey, can you show me how to play his solos? And then he let it slip to Dave that, hey, my teacher, I got an appointment or whatever with my teacher to go help me learn some stuff. And Dave looked at him kind of weird and go, who's your teacher? And he goes, oh, it's this guy I live with, Jeff. And he goes, well, tell him to come down. And then it's kind of like Jay was out and then Jeff was in.
Yeah, because it said that at first the band hired guitarist Jay Reynolds from the band Malice, but Reynolds was not up to the task of recording. Mm-hmm. So subsequently he was replaced by his guitar teacher, Jeff Young.
He was good.
Very
he
interesting.
Just wasn't in that level.
Before Chuck Baylor joined the band, Dave Lombardo had considered coming to Megadeth.
Yeah.
And at the time was playing with Slayer.
Now that would have been so interesting to hear what this band would have been like.
It would have been different.
Completely.
And something else that I had seen is somebody else that they had even considered for guitar was Slash from Guns N' Roses. Now that would have been horrible.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Slash is a good guitar player. I just don't like his style. I like his style.
I like his style.
I like his style, but it's a blues-based thing, and Dave doesn't do blues-based. So,
right. So, very interesting. The quick change that happened in between Peace Sells and So Far So Good So What. And it's really weird. If you listen to both albums back to back, you can hear it. You can hear the change. You know.
Well, this is the album that Dave is the most messed up on drugs.
Right.
And he has self-admitted that in his book.
Right. He was really strung out on drugs at this time. And plus, to me, you were talking about Rest in Peace being your favorite album. Mine is Peace Sells. And my reason is, on the first two albums, they had Gar and Poland from a jazz band.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, with Dave Mustaine's unique guitar style and their jazz background, it kind of that's what made Megadeth have their sound, the Megadeth sound to me.
Yeah.
So it was different when they got rid of them two, and then plus him being strung out on drugs. The production wasn't as good on this one, I don't think. On So Far So Good So What, the production was a little wonky, but.
Well, on this album, he was so messed up. That's why the production's that way, because the producer had to drench everything in reverb to try to hide stuff.
Right.
Because Dave was just like he did the cover of the Alice Cooper song for the movie Shocker during this time, and he couldn't play and sing at the same time in the video, so they had to edit his singing and playing differently in the music video.
Yeah, he was struggling bad at this time.
And that was No More Mr. Nice Guy?
That's correct.
Yeah.
But great movie, by the way.
Absolutely.
The production, like I said, on this album is a little wonky, but the songs on there are great on this album. I think the songs are up there.
Yeah, this is my favorite by them as a front-to-back piece of work, even over Rust.
It's not my favorite, but it's good. It's damn good.
Rust is their most technically challenging.
Oh, for sure. That's
in Rust in Peace, the reason why I loved it so much is I really loved the introduction of Marty Friedman. I think, back in the day, Marty was probably one of my favorite guitar players.
Now, I liked him even before he was in the band, because I liked Cacophony, and I'm a huge Jason Becker fan.
Right. But to have him in a band with Dave Mustaine was perfect, perfect.
Yeah, it was definitely good. That's probably my second favorite.
Yeah. But So Far So Good So What, I remember when it came out, I got the cassette for it, and, pretty much wore it out, I remember I spent a lot of time. I was always, when I was younger, I was always big into lyrics and stuff. I always wanted to know what the words were. And I remember a big thing for me was that whole middle section of Liar. Where he spits all those words out in one breath. It's like a fucking 30-second sentence, and he does it in one breath. Yeah,
there's like 40 lines worth of lyrics in there.
Yeah. That start trouble, spread pain, piss and venom in your veins. That whole fucking section there, you know.
Eating burgers, something pissed off. I forget the rest of them. Caffeine and alcohol.
Yeah, just everything on this album it hits really well. And what's cool is a lot of the stuff, the lyrical content of the stuff and the subject matter, you know, they dealt with a lot of like, censorship and the government and different things, and like songs like 502. 502 for you guys that don't know is the California code for driving while intoxicated. And what's interesting about the song is Dave wrote the song and he wrote it to where it was super fast, you know. And
there's a story behind that one.
Shortly after, but it was shortly after he wrote this song, he actually got pulled over for a 502.
And here's the thing. I remember reading in one of the rock magazines back in the day, probably Hit Parader, I'm guessing, where he got pulled over at that stop, and they did a drug test on him and found 9 different illegal substances in his bloodstream.
Wow. Nice.
And I remember one of them was ketamine, which at the time was not used for humans at all. It was only a horse tranquilizer back then. So made people go, what the,
Yeah. Sure. Some of the stuff that they did in here was, just interesting the way they pulled it off. Of course, Into the Lungs of Hell was an instrumental, which Megadeth is not necessarily known for. They have done a few, but not, Set the World Afire, it's funny. This is the first song that Dave Mustaine wrote for Megadeth after being fired from Metallica. He was a member of Metallica from 1981 to 1983 and was dismissed just before Metallica recorded its debut album, Kill 'Em All. He later said that he wrote the lyrics during his journey home from his departure from the band. Inspiration for the song came from a pamphlet he read while on the bus back to California. The initial lyrics were reportedly written with a borrowed pencil on a cupcake wrapper, leading some fans to refer to Set the World Afire as the Cupcake Song. Though Mustaine indicated in a 2019 interview with NME that lyrics were written on the backing of a Snowball's cake, the card on the back of the Snowball's cake. The beginning of the song contains a sample of I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire, a 1941 song by the Ink Spots. What an interesting way to start an album, for Megadeth. To start that off, one with an instrumental, a very good instrumental at that, and then to throw in, a snippet of an old song from 1941 to lead you into an explosion, a bomb dropping.
And then it comes in with a real fast-paced riffing.
Yep.
And it just keeps going.
See, to me, like, In the Lungs of Hell, I know it's a separate track, but it just always went with it to me.
It always felt like the intro to that song, But,
like Alice in Hell, they got Crystal Land or whatever.
Well, but it's also smart on him to separate the two on a business standpoint, because now he gets twice the publishing.
Yeah.
When it gets played, he gets paid twice instead of once. So,
hey, that's a good point. Good point.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of bands do that for that reason. But Set the World Afire to me is like the table setter on the record. Like from that point, it just keeps going.
No, I agree. It's one of my favorite Megadeth songs ever. Honestly, Set the World Afire. Really, it's one of my top few for sure.
Yeah, the way the lyrics are sang in that song and that fucking driving guitar riff.
That riff,
that beginning riff for that song is just killer.
That breakdown riff is just amazing.
Yeah, that's a good one. Every song on this album is good.
Very good.
Not my favorite like Jim's, but it's a damn good album.
They followed that up with Anarchy in the UK, which is a Sex Pistols cover, which I thought was interesting.
And also had Steve Jones guest on it from the Sex Pistols.
Yes.
Who famously asked Dave for a blowjob.
What?
That was part of his. He goes, when Dave brought him in the studio, he said, I want like $200 and a blowjob. And Dave's like, well, I can give you the money or whatever, but I'm not sucking that.
On that note.
Or did he?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
But, let's get something out in the air right here. So I have had a lot of people tell me what a fucking prick Dave Mustaine is. How he's just like the biggest fucking jack off they've ever met in their life. I actually met Dave Mustaine at Pops one night, back behind the building. It was funny. I was the only one back there, and he happened to come walking out the back door and was standing there smoking. And we kind of looked at each other, and I was like, "Hey, Dave." And he was like, "Oh, hey, man." And he comes walking over, and he sat and he talked to me for like 10 minutes or whatever. Super fucking cool guy. But I didn't treat him like a fucking god, and I didn't treat him like fucking Dave Mustaine. I just treated him like any other metalhead, and I just fucking talked to him. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, this is fucking Dave Mustaine from Megadeth that I'm talking to. But, I had a perfectly fine conversation with him, and he was like, "Man, I got to go. I got to get back in there." And I'm like, "All right, dude, cool."
Well, that's like a lot of those type of guys, you go fanboy on them, they put their guard up and they want to get away from you.
Yeah.
But if you just talk like a normal person about their hobbies, they're like, "Okay, I'll talk to you,"
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very, very cool interaction, I didn't ask him for his autograph. I didn't do none of that. I just fucking talked to him. And it was cool, man. It was cool. I already had Dave's autograph. I got it at the American Theater one night. They had put up a thing about hey, we don't let's see, what did it say? It said, "Please don't destroy the place. We like playing here, and we'd want to come back," or something like that. It was like they had printed these photocopies off, and they were hanging all over the place. And I fucking ripped one of them off the wall. And there was a couple times they played at the American, and I always was up front row, right against that fucking barricade. And after the show, I fucking tossed that paper up on the stage, and they all fucking signed it for me.
Nice.
So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Cool. Super cool.
But yeah, good times, man. I've been a fan of Megadeth for years. Now, they are probably my number two.
Now, whenever I used to do my day job when I was out in Colorado for a minute with my old boss.
You had a day job?
Yes. He's from San Francisco and got a chance to see Kerry King play with Mustaine on one of the 6 shows in California that Kerry King played with them. And he basically just ripped him up and down, calling him an asshole.
Who?
My old boss, Ben.
Yeah.
And he basically was saying that he was beating on the back door trying to get into this place. And the place is like a creepy crawl. I can't remember what venue he said it was, but it was small.
Gotcha.
He hadn't made it yet. They were still trying to find their sound and everything and get their lineup solidified. And apparently somebody said something to him and he went walking off like, "I'm so-and-so" or whatever, and went walking off, and the dude just hauled up, threw like a 40 at the back of him and busted on him on the back of his leather jacket because he was being such a jerk to the guy, And he was drunk as fuck when he said all this, so he may not even remember what happened, for all we know. But, it's not like he didn't have his substance abuse problems. And he was on heroin for a lot of time, too. And I think that came a little later, but still.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for one of those shows, though.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, Andy, let us see that shirt, buddy. Look at that. The man. The fucking man right there, Mr. Cliff Burton. Yeah, so, interesting. "In My Darkest Hour" was written by Mustaine shortly after the death of Metallica bassist Cliff Burton. Mustaine had found out through word of mouth, as his former bandmates never contacted him about the tragic event that occurred in Europe. He later recalled that he was extremely unhappy that day and wrote the song in one sitting.
Not surprising.
Yeah. That death hit a lot of us hard, man. Hit a lot of us hard. But can you imagine, you basically grew up in music with these guys, and they, one of your buddies fucking dies, and they didn't even bother to fucking contact him and tell him. He found out through, secondhand party or something.
There was still some bad blood between those guys at that point.
I'm sure there was. Sure. I'm sure there was, but still.
You know, it wasn't until years later, I think, that they actually were cool enough.
When they cried it out on the home video.
Well, my brother actually got a chance to see the first time they played together in Europe at some show in England in 1990, and it had been that long before they actually were on a bill together.
That was before they cried it out on the Some Kind of Monster.
Yeah. That was a good movie, by the way.
Good, but
I enjoyed it. It was hard to watch at times, though, man. I was like, dude, these guys were my idols, and they're a bunch of fucking bitches.
Yeah, James and Lars, man.
Fuck?
Definitely egos and Rockstar egos. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Kirk seems super cool. He's just like, let's just jam.
Yeah. And that's one thing, it's weird. You look at a guy like Kirk and, you think, man, what is he doing with these guys? But he fucking knows how to play that guitar, man.
Well, just think about it. If he hadn't have drawn that card, he would have been the one that we would have lost that night instead of Cliff, because they drew cards to see who got the bunk in that bus.
Somebody had said, if you could go back in time and do one thing, what would you do? And they said, I would tell Cliff to switch spots with Lars.
I've heard that.
It's like, what the hell, dude? But okay, I get it.
If you do that, though, Metallica doesn't get as big, because really he was their business guy.
But
no matter how you want to slice it.
Yeah. And Lars does get a lot of bashing that I think is unnecessary.
He does.
But if they wouldn't have got real famous, would that be a bad thing? I mean, financially for them, but
I'm talking about for metal in general.
I know, I'm just saying, but music in general probably would have been a good thing. They would.
I don't know. A lot of people give Lars flack, but I don't think he's really that bad of a drummer.
No, he's not that bad of a drummer. He's a pioneer, and he's so important to thrash metal in general.
Right.
The creation of thrash metal. He had his finger on the pulse.
Yep. I mean, you look at his drumming and like Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets. I mean, for fuck's sake, even what he did on Justice,
To me, that's his best drum.
Oh, easily.
Justice is his best drum.
Absolutely.
And I'll say this. I think he was a better drummer than anybody Megadeth had until Mensa came along.
Right.
No, he wasn't better than Gar.
I think he was, personally.
No way. I don't think.
Style-wise, I would take him over that.
Yeah.
And I love Lars. Lars was a huge influence on me because him and Charlie Benente, that's the first time I heard double bass back when I was...
And I would say Charlie's better than both of them.
Oh, yeah. But fucking Gar's really good.
Yeah.
He was just heroined out, but man, he's good. He was a lot more of a technical drummer than Lars.
Oh, well, Lars and technicality are usually not in the same sense.
But I love the old drums. Like I said, I've never heard double bass till Lars. Like I said, Justice was my first Metallica, and I heard that double bass, and I'm like, holy fuck.
Now, see, for me, I heard Master of Puppets first, and then after that, you could flip a coin. It was either Indians or Peace Cells that I heard right at the same time. And this is like 86 when I'm hearing all this stuff for the first time. And then I hear Slayer a few years later after that. Because they were always like, ooh, they're the scary one.
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
See, I'm a couple years behind you guys. I didn't get into metal until about 88 when I started kind of. So I'm a couple years, you guys are a little ahead
see,
of me.
I started getting into... Well, fuck, I don't really know how to put that. First album I ever bought was Kiss Double Platinum. I was like 6 years old.
Nice.
So, I mean, I guess I was getting into fucking metal back then,
But I was getting into metal in 88, and like Justice was my first album, and we were just talking about Anthrax the day before. It was my first Anthrax, but this was the new album from Megadeth, and I had heard a little bit of it, but I never really got to listen to the whole thing. And then the first one I bought was Peace Cells, but this was the new one when I first discovered that.
Right. Yeah. For me, I got Peace Cells. Like, my buddy played it for me. I immediately went out and got it and started wearing it out. And I remember hearing, it's really weird. I don't know how, guys, here you go. Try and think back. How the hell did we hear about new albums coming out back in the day?
Hit Parader.
Magazines.
Hit Parader.
Rip.
Monday Night Metal.
Sometimes it was, Monday Night Metal from Keishi. And
Power Metal, the magazine.
Well, magazines in general. But
right.
Yeah, right. Monday Night Metal on Keishi for me, and then magazines.
Or word of mouth at a show.
Word of mouth, like I've said this before.
Usually for me, it was somebody, word of mouth, or, whenever Headbangers Ball came along, then we started hearing about that. When did Headbangers Ball come along? What was that?
If you want to get anal with it, they'll say 83 because Dee Snider did something with them. But
started doing it. Okay.
But 86 is, I think, when it kind of galvanized.
Right. And Headbangers Ball did a lot for me because that's where I started hearing about a lot of new bands that I had never heard of, because we live in a weird part of the country, We don't live in the mecca of music, Right. Now, if you lived in California or New York or somewhere, you would get bombarded by that shit. But being in the Midwest, you didn't get bombarded by it on a daily basis. Yeah. So we had our weekly or monthly magazines that would come out, like I did a lot of Hit Parader. Metal Maniacs was the other one that I got.
Oh, yeah, that was the one.
That was a little bit later,
but yeah.
Most of what I heard about was on Headbangers Ball, or like you guys said, Monday Night Metal. And it was funny because Monday Night Metal on KC 95 in St. Louis was on Monday nights, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, wait, we're going to move that to Tuesday, so now it's Monday Night Metal on Tuesday nights.
Because of Rockline.
Because of Rockline, yeah.
So weird, Monday Night Metal on Tuesday.
Well, and here's the other thing that we're forgetting about, too, is if you were lucky enough to have a cool record store, you'd see the promotional stuff come out, and if you were lucky, you could snag one of those promotional posters. Yes. From the record store, because they'd give so many out for each store to try to promote the new record. And then the records always came out on Tuesday back then. Now it's Friday.
Tuesdays and Fridays. But
like movies do that. Movies come out on Tuesdays. Well, unless they're new in the theater, then they come out on Friday. But like DVDs and stuff, they're released on Tuesdays. I don't remember music being that way, but you guys are probably right.
Tuesday.
It was Tuesdays.
You guys are probably right.
And that was before the SoundScan era. So that would have been pre-92.
For me, it was funny. I had told you guys before that I used to go to a place. We had a little store in Arnold called Grandpa Pigeons. And it was funny. They had a little music section back in the corner, and luckily the guy that put that music section together was a metalhead. So they had an entire section of nothing but metal, and and it was killer shit. I got awesome. Some Judas Priest from there, some Metallica, Megadeth, all the big ones. I bought my Rain and Blood album there. And this guy was big into metal, so occasionally, and he knew, there was a group of us kids that always went in there, and he knew us, and he was an older guy, and he would tell us about new stuff coming out or whatever, like Jim said, your record stores. Now, they didn't never get, like, promotional merchandise kind of shit, because they were, I don't know, Grandpa Pigeons was like a weird chain.
It was almost like...
For us, it was our local Radio Shack and JD's, which was a mom and pop.
Yeah.
They both get those. They'd have those album-sized posters that you used to see that were the album cover.
Yeah, the square. They were like a cardboard kind of. Yep. Yeah.
Like for me, I discovered Metallica and all that, but then that got me aware of metal, and then I started listening to getting magazines and discovering bands from there. And then I didn't have cable. So I would only see Headbangers Ball like when I was in Milwaukee at my aunt's or somebody's house or whatever.
Gotcha.
Or if you spent the night at a friend's house.
Then so my freshman year, which was 89, 90, I met Jim. I've said this before. And that's a lot of the bands that I knew about, Overkill and Testament and Exodus and, whatever, Slayer and stuff. I knew about them. I just never got a chance to hear them until I met him. And then it was just like, I'm recording the tapes. And
Yeah.
But so I was aware of the bands, I just never got to hear them.
Right.
Because back then, you couldn't just go online and hear it. I mowed lawns, so when I had money, like when I bought a tape, it's like, I wanted to make sure I knew what I was buying, you know.
and back then we could buy a cassette for like $7 or $8 or something like that. You know, and,
but the used ones at the store we went to were $4, so I always went to the used section. That's where I got P-Cells, was in the used section. But this was the new one, and there was a kid in my freshman year of high school, Joe Mancinelli, and I asked to borrow this to listen to it, but he wouldn't let me. So then when I ended up buying P-Cells, and of course I met Jim, and I was exposed to all the shit. But yeah, back then it was hard to.
Yeah.
You couldn't.
It was hard.
You couldn't just go online or something and listen to a song. You didn't. Right. You had to go to the store and physically buy it, and then you had to make sure it was. You know, when you got it, you played the fuck out of it, even if you wasn't caring for it. You're like, I'm gonna try to like this as much as possible.
Yeah, you know, and it's funny because you know we could sit here and say, you know, you kids today have got it made, but in all actuality, we actually had it made back then. Yeah, you know.
Well, it made us appreciate what we had more because you spent your money on it. You couldn't just, it's commodity. I'll just listen for 5 seconds. No, I don't like it. I'm saying,
when you bought a tape, man, you had to be like, make sure you knew what you were buying because that was your money, man, and you might be another couple weeks before you could buy another one.
Not to mention, you got a chance because all you had was that inside insert, whether it was a J card or the album.
And then speaking of, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's done this. You would open it up. First of all, you'd see their shirts, bands that they're wearing, and then their thank you list. You sell these bands, you're like, oh, that sounds interesting. Overkill or whatever. I got to check that out, you know? So then you discovered bands that way, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was funny. So, you know, you guys talk about that. I remember the day I picked this up. I couldn't wait. I rushed over to my buddy Clint, which you guys know Clint. Rushed over to my buddy Clint's house, and I'm like, dude, you got to hear this, man. It's the new Megadeth. And he was like, you know, because, I mean, we were, you know, Clint and I have been friends forever. And, you know, it's just two metalheads sitting in his room, fucking lights out and fucking stereo blasting, you know.
Yeah.
And that was the day, man. You didn't have a care in the fucking world, you know. You just, it's all you. Well, for us, I mean, we'd go outside and get really fucking high, and then, you know, then we'd go in and fucking blast the radio.
Yeah,
and his mom would be like, "What's that funny smell?" Gerald farted. You know,
you know, blame everything on Gerald farted.
Gerald
farted.
Yeah. Now she knows.
Well, now he's got to get grounded.
Well, yeah. That's true. He'd have to ground himself.
It was definitely different discovering bands back then.
Yeah, it was weird, man. Like you know, and of course you guys went through it. With Lunatic, and I went through it with Fatality and Heavy Ground, that whole fucking tape trading thing and the fucking, you know, sending ads to fucking fanzines and shit, you know, trying to get your name in there. You know, and then trying to discover other bands and shit. You know, we did a lot of that stuff, you know, but that was when I was a little older, you know, and you had more money and you had a car and you could drive, you know.
Yeah.
But when you're a teenager riding your fucking bicycle over to fucking Grandpa Pigeon's to get the new Judas Priest album or something, you know, it's like things were a little different. Yeah.
I drove from out the country on my bike.
Occasionally I could get my mom, hey mom, take me over to Crestwood, and I'd go to Camelot, and Camelot had the fucking Taj Mahal of fucking metal.
They had
dude.
Everything.
They just fucking very first thing I ever fucking bought. I bought two tapes at Camelot the exact same time, and it was fucking Candlemass and Oppressor.
Which Candlemass?
Huh?
Which Candlemass?
Candlemass. It was God, what's the name of it? It's the one with like the fucking angel on the front of it.
I got a bigger stomach.
God, what was the name of that?
It's not Ancient Dreams, is it?
No.
That's the one that Mirror Mirror and all that.
No. Hold on. Let me go down here and find it, because I'll recognize the name.
Creation. You're probably talking about
Nightfall. Nightfall.
Nightfall, the second one, and then Ancient Dreams, the third one. That's the one we always do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you guys got into Ancient Dreams because it came in '88. Yeah, Nightfall was the first one I got.
Yeah. Which I didn't like back then. We used to make fun of the vocals, but now I love.
Oh my God, I love that guy's voice. But at the time, I was a huge fucking King Diamond fan. you know. So I mean, it wasn't that far off, you know.
Right.
I mean,
King Diamond's weird for me because I like King Diamond's music, but I always like the musicianship better than the vocals because his band was just
I will
so
agree
good.
with you.
They were a great band.
I will agree with you. Musically, they were so tight and
creative.
They were great.
You know, a lot of that comes from Andy LaRocque.
Yeah.
He is just a phenomenally creative guitar player, you know. Very, you know. But, you know, you look at Merciful Fate, you know, Merciful Fate was the same way, you know, but they weren't near as...
Not as technical.
To me, they weren't near as creative, like you're saying, as, you know, when King Diamond went solo, you know. That's when I really got into them.
I love King Diamond and Merciful Fate, but sometimes some of them falsettos can get a little, I think what Jim's talking about.
It depends on what it is. So, like,
it
for
takes a minute for you to adjust to King Diamond if you've never heard it before.
My all-time favorite is Abigail. I love that album. I listen to it several times a year, front to back. It's probably one of my favorite albums ever. And I understand what you're talking about with the falsetto. But man, I don't know. I just got used to it. And
I did too.
now some of his newer stuff is a little weird. You know, well, I mean, it's all weird.
It's too overproduced too now. It
right,
doesn't have that dark production.
But you know, albums like Abigail and Them, and even the one that came right after that. What was that? Spider's Lullaby, I think, or something like that, was really good too. But yeah, it was funny because I remember I wanted to see King Diamond so bad, and I never got a chance to see him until, it was just maybe 10 years ago. I got to see him at the pageant, and what he was doing was the entire Abigail album. And,
that's awesome.
Dude, it was so good, man. So good.
I've seen Merciful Fate, but I've never seen him solo.
Yeah. I've seen King Diamond twice now. I just saw him last year again.
Yeah, I know. I missed that.
He's got a new album out. And, dude, it's funny. I'm sorry, we've gotten way off of Megadeth here. But, hey, this is Metalhead talk, man. Dude, there was a band there. I don't know if you guys have heard of this band called Night Demon.
I've heard of them, yeah.
Dude, I really got into them guys while they were playing, man. I was like, fuck,
I kind of think I seen him at Milwaukee Metal Fest.
You might have.
Jeff was into them.
Dude, they're a three-piece band. And, dude, they're not, like, super, super heavy, but they're just fun to listen to, you know? And
you would think vocal too, right?
Yeah, they're clean. They're clean vocals.
Yeah. I think I seen them at Milwaukee Metal Fest. Jeff.
You would think with a name like Night Demon that they would be like some Cannibal Corpse ripoff or something, and they are not, man. They are a band all their own, man, and really cool and really fun to listen to. I ended up going out and getting one of their albums, and it's so good. So good. They've got a few albums out, I think.
Yeah, I think I've seen them.
But yeah, they were really good. Speaking of new albums, I'm going to say it again. The fucking new Sebastian Bach album is fucking killer.
Check that out. I love old Skid like Sebastian Bach's voice.
I mean, dude, I cannot believe he can still sing like that, man. He is amazing, you know.
He's good.
Some people are just gifted genetically on that stuff.
Right.
I couldn't hit those notes with a vice grip on my nuts.
Yeah, I hear you. It was kind of an interesting thing. He did do a couple Motley Crue songs. Something happened with Vince Neil, and he couldn't sing one night. So Sebastian Bach got up and did some Motley Crue songs.
Mm-hmm.
Which Motley Crue was kind of weird.
That's what happened.
Huh?
Though.
Yeah.
He turned into a big fat talentless fuck. That's what
so did I. So. But, you know, Motley Crue's a little interesting now. They got John 5 playing with them. And John 5 is, you know, high up there on my guitar player list, you know. He's extremely high up there. And I am surprised that he left, you know, somebody like Rob Zombie to go play with Motley Crue, but...
I'm not. He's probably getting a lot better paid.
Well...
And a lot more notoriety.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'll give you that. Because I'm thinking, Motley Crue's on their way out probably,
Hopefully.
They're playing stadiums. Rob Zombie's not. So.
Well, that's true. But Rob Zombie doesn't need to play stadiums.
No, and Rob Zombie only goes out on festivals. He's like,
yeah.
The Foo Fighters
he does. The last few times I've seen him has been at the pageant, the pageant or Riverport, whatever they're calling it this week, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Mm-hmm. I've seen him out there a few times. I've seen him at the pageant a couple of times, I know a lot of people, Rob Zombie is not their foray, but I kind of dig his shit, especially his live shows. His live shows are fucking killer.
Yeah, he does have a good live show.
I'll tell you, man, the one that impressed me the most is, I don't know that, but I was blown away was the new Static X. Even with Wayne being gone, it was like, I sat there watching them and I was like, holy shit, dude. It feels like old Static X. And even sounds like them too, And what they did with the new singer is he's wearing a mask that's basically Wayne Static's head, but it's zombified. And dude, they fucking put on a killer show, man. Killer show. I know
the ownership on that band was basically half Wayne Static and half Tony Campos. So Tony was the one who lined all this up and got everything going with Wayne's wife, as far as I know.
Right.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to pull it off.
Yeah, she just passed away last year, I think.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
I know she was an ex-porn star, so.
We were supposed to play a show. We were supposed to play a show with them with Fun Gone when I was in Fun Gone Wrong at Pops, and then it got canceled. It was something right before, it wasn't long before he died. So I'm sure it was.
Oh, he died of an opioid overdose.
Well, I know, but I'm saying the show with us that got canceled, I'm sure it was because of.
Fell asleep and never woke up.
Yeah. Crazy. Crazy.
But one other thing of note with Megadeth, to bring us back around, is you know about Chris Poland leaving the band before this record. Have you ever heard the Rust in Peace demos with Chris doing the solos?
I don't think so,
on YouTube.
No.
You can listen to basically the whole record with Chris Poland playing solos. Yeah. Because Dave brought him back. I read this in the book.
Oh, you mean he brought him back before Rust in Peace?
Before Marty.
This album and then, you're right.
He brought him back to potentially be in the band, but it was more, I guess, for solo ideas, at least the way he claims it, but who knows what the truth is. Because Chris ended up suing him over the use of some of that stuff, but he never used any of those solos. Marty did his own stuff. So, but it just sounds different. Like it's got its own weird flavor to it.
Oh, yeah, because they're both different style players for sure.
Yeah. But if you ever get a chance, look that up and check it out.
Something else about this, and you talking about that made me remember this, that whenever they were making this album, it said work on this album started while Reynolds was in the band, but continued after the induction of Young. To mix the album, the label turned to Paul Lanny, who had remixed the band's previous album, Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? Mustaine was initially skeptical and later became very irate with Lanny's eccentricities, I guess, and his way of handling things. To mix the album, Lanny relocated himself and Mustaine to Bearsville Studios near Woodstock, New York.
Yep.
For purposes of inspiration. Mustaine decided that he had his limits when he, having just awakened and made coffee, noticed Lanny outside in his underwear feeding an apple to a deer. I don't know what the fuck's that got to do with anything. But Mustaine apparently got pissed off, flew back to Los Angeles later that day, and fired Lanny, who was replaced by Michael Wagner. Mustaine was since criticized Wagner's pedestrian mixing efforts, citing the album's muddy feel in particular. But I thought it was interesting, so he fires this Paul Lanny guy, but on the re-release of this album in 2004, there's a remix, and at the end there are 4 songs: "Into the Lungs of Hell," "Set the World Afire," "Mary Jane," and "In My Darkest Hour," and all 4 of those songs were the Paul Lanny mix.
Well, he needed something to add to it. I mean,
So he fired him not for his job, but basically because he was in his underwear feeding an apple to a deer.
That's what it sounds like, dude.
Yeah, that's accurate the way you describe it. At least the way I understand it.
That's another example of Dave being.
I read that and was like, "What in the fuck?"
Yeah, he's decent.
But Michael Wagner was the guy who mixed right before that Master of Puppets. So how do you think Dave felt about that? He probably was like, cringing over that.
No.
Because he was with Capitol at that point, and Capitol was probably the one telling him what to do because he hadn't become Dave yet. He was still establishing himself.
Yeah, in this album, if you look at it, it's really funny. If you look at the production of it, it says produced by Paul Lanny and Dave Mustaine, engineered by Paul Lanny and Matt Freeman, mixed by Michael Wagner, and then executive produced by Tim Carr.
All over the place.
Tim Carr's probably the guy at the label,
Yeah, probably. Didn't do too bad, for a Megadeth album. It peaked at 28 on the U.S. Billboard. And
it's gone platinum.
Did rather well around the world. Its highest chart was number 5, and that was on the Finnish album list. But
they even went platinum in Canada.
Yeah, it went. Was certified platinum with over 1 million sales.
Mm-hmm.
There was a stat I had read. It sold 400,000 copies in the first week.
I can see that because there's a lot of buzz about him at the time. And at the time, I think also they did the Shocker pretty much right around the exact same time as this, so there was already the movie buzz too. That's why I don't think there's any videos for anything off this record besides
Anarchy in the UK.
Was there a video for that?
I think there was, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I was going to say besides the soundtrack song.
But I never even heard Anarchy in the UK until this.
This album. Yeah.
I had heard it before this, but
I knew of it.
I knew it was completely different whenever I heard Dave's version.
Yeah, I had heard of it, and I had heard this before. I had never heard of Anarchy in the UK. I thought it was a Megadeth song until I started reading the liner notes. And then I went back and I listened to the Sex Pistols. I never really got big into the Sex Pistols.
Me neither.
I'm not a huge fan, but I did hear them before this.
Yeah, I went back and listened to it and was like, oh, that's fucking god awful. But Megadeth does some things right. Man, can I piss a bunch of people off here?
Go ahead. Okay.
I think Megadeth's version of Paranoid is better than Black Sabbath's. I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay.
It's faster.
Paranoid's not one of my favorite Sabbath songs anyway, but...
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath is my favorite.
What's your 3 favorite songs on this album, Joe?
Let me go down and look here.
I'm
going to say it's not Anarchy in the UK. For me, it's weird. I'm going to say that... I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to say 502, In My Darkest Hour, and Liar are my 3 favorites.
Wow.
I don't know. I fucking love them all, though, man. Mary Jane's a great song, too.
Every song is on here. My least favorite would probably be Anarchy in the UK. But
yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah,
my favorite would be Set the World Afire, Liar, and then maybe Hook and Mouth.
Yeah, Hook and Mouth's a good one,
Darkest Hour, Hook and Mouth.
Yeah, I'd probably say Set the World Afire, Hook and Mouth, and 502.
Yeah. In My Darkest Hour, I don't know. Even not knowing what that song is about, I love the feel. of
I
that
do
song.
too. It is a great song.
You know, just the fucking rhythm of it.
Yeah.
You know, just I don't know, man.
But
The whole
World of
album
Fire
is
and Liar
fucking
are
awesome, though.
not too
Yeah.
favorite. What about you, Jim? You just said. Didn't you just say?
Yeah.
502.
Yeah, 502, Hook and Mouth, and Set the World Afire.
Yeah.
Not in that order, but yeah.
Yeah. If you were going to rate this album, what would you give this album?
10.
Wow. That's heavy.
I say it's my favorite Megadeth record.
Yeah.
I'll give it an 8.
I think I'd split the difference there. I'd probably give this a 9. Everything on here is fantastic. You know, although I don't like Anarchy in the UK per se, I think they did a good job with it.
Yeah, they did.
And it fits this album well.
True.
Better than the last two covers.
Yeah. But you know, you look at this with a runtime of 34 minutes and 26 seconds. Man, it sure seems like it goes by faster than that.
Yeah.
Great
when
album.
I saw the runtime on this, I was like, I can't believe it's that short. I knew it was short, but I didn't think it was that short.
Yeah. That's almost Rain and Blood short there.
Yeah.
Not quite, but Rain and Blood's pretty fucking short.
28 or 9 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, 28.
That's a Metallica EP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty.
Megadeth. So far, so good. So what?
So far,
So good.
So what? Great album. Great album. All right, gentlemen, what are we doing next here?
I think we got a little EP from a little band from San Francisco.
San Francisco?
With a bunch of guys standing in a bathroom on the cover.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Ball Numbers.
You want to guess?
Is it Metallica? Maybe. Look at that. We've started this show with the big four. So we went from Slayer to Anthrax to Megadeth, and now we're going to Metallica. Go figure. The big four of thrash metal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, from the
Until
Lunatics
next
of
time.
Metal, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us and listening to us talk metal. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And go out and grab yourself some metal.
Yep.
Grab the metal by the ass. Yeah. Thanks for checking us out.
Okay.